it's like 17 degrees inside.
What was it in Fluvanna when you woke up?
Yeah, it was about 17, 18 degrees.
Yeah,
I know. I put it this way. It was cold enough for me not to decide to do a bike ride.
Yeah, 17 in Keswick this morning. Judah, what was it on the Charlottesville-Albemarle County line this morning? Did you look when you woke up?
I didn't look until just before I left for work, and I think it was, I don't know, almost 40 by then.
Well, what's it feel like, though? Like right now in Charlottesville, well, no way, it was almost 40. Right now in Charlottesville it's 32, but it feels
32?
like
That's
27.
right. You still think it's California.
It feels like 27. It's 32 in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
So how's everybody's Thanksgiving? This is the first show.
And look, you got to scroll down and see what it feels like. My Thanksgiving was great. We had chaos in our house. 4 children.
Oh,
Definitely cold.
3 sets of parents. So my parents,
oh wow.
my
cool.
wife and I, my brother and his wife from Los Angeles, my brother and his wife's children, boy to girl, and our 2 boys for a handful of days.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Everybody stayed in the house?
Oh, everyone stayed at our house.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you didn't come knock on my door?
Organized chaos. I was accompanied by our good buddy, Woodford Reserve.
Oh, God.
Have you seen in Christmas Vacation, Chevy Chase talks with his dad, how do you make it through? My good buddy, Jack Daniels.
Well, we need to work on the bar over there, so we'll
We'll talk about that, right?
Sure, yeah, if you want to talk about
Because
we'll talk about anything. I don't have anything planned to chat about today. I would love the feed from the questions from the feed and stump the chump and see what we can come up with. I got my formerly what does the guy used to say? Formerly nicotine stained fingers. I don't know. Nicotine stained fingers. Who was his name that did that? The radio guy.
Rush
Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh. Okay.
Yeah, that's promoting one way or the other, but that's what he used to say. I've got crunched all kinds of numbers for our November show on Friday with Woody, the running numbers, and brother, we kind of called it. This is 2015 all over again.
And are we running the intro with an intro song these days, or no intro song, Judah? Did you find an intro song?
No, we haven't put one in yet.
Okay, so you go ahead and cue up that intro.
I've got one.
Oh, you've got a song?
Let's see.
Okay, we're going to do this on the fly.
And we did not get pre-production approval.
I mean, Keith Smith's the executive producer. He should, but I think, why don't we do it?
Yeah, whatever.
Play it. Bill McChesney, hello, welcome to the program. Yeah. Cue, so we can go quiet on the set and play that song.
Why do I feel like it's going to be something like a Bozo the Clown entry song?
I don't think he would do that to us. I don't think he would do that to us. I can hear it.
You're putting in the secret ear thing in it.
Yeah, I'm going to be able to hear it.
How come I can't get my hearing aids connected?
Cue the song up and we'll go quiet on the set and do the intro, Judah.
Shut up, Smith. Is that what you're telling me?
I mean, Judah's got to give us some direction here. Joseph Barron, hello. Welcome to the program. James Watson, Bill McChesney, Jason Howard, Adam Sylvester, Bellamy Brown, Holly Foster. Holly loves the show. Lisa Costello.
She's good people.
She is. Beth Marcus, hello. J-Dubs, warn your hands.
Quiet on the set.
Good Wednesday morning, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and this is Real Talk with Keith Smith. Thank you kindly for joining us. We are live in downtown Charlottesville. We're about 1 mile from the University of Virginia and landmarks like the Rotunda, Scott Stadium, and the John Paul Jones Arena. We are, I would say, 100 feet from the Charlottesville Police Department. I'd say maybe 100 yards from the courthouses, and undoubtedly in the heartbeat of this community. Judah Wickower had an intro song there, which I liked. You can hear it after the program. Judah, job well done on the new intro song. In fact, why don't we go to a studio camera, then the 3-shot. You know what I was thinking for the intro song? And let us know when the 2 and 3 shots are on. Let's go straight to the 3-shot, Judah, because you're part of this here. I like the intro song you picked. It's a new one. The reason we had to pivot from the old one is because someone claimed licensing rights on the old one. so we had to go to a different one. We used a new one that was pretty good. I kind of feel like a Captain America, patriotic, United States, proud to be an American intro song would fit for Keith Smith.
I would love this. I'm at a disadvantage. I have the people that are watching and listening heard it. You heard it. Judah heard it. I have no idea what it is.
It was upbeat and peppy.
Good, upbeat and peppy. We like upbeat and peppy.
We're upbeat and peppy.
Depending on how far I get into my coffee.
Is that your first? Your second?
Maybe third.
Okay,
I've been
you're
up since a little early this morning.
Okay.
Working on these great numbers for Friday's show.
How do you feel about Judah and Keith, proud to be an American, patriotic intro song? You could find one of those, J-Dubs. You don't have to do it now on the fly.
It would be pretty hard to make that violate some sort of whatever that Facebook got annoyed at us for.
Well, he goes to, Judah, you can give us some insight. There's libraries that offer royalty-free music, right?
Yeah, well, we were originally using royalty-free music from Apple, but apparently there are some
and Facebook
issues with
don't get
their
along.
Apple and Facebook had a little beef.
their library. I don't.
Little brouhaha.
I honestly don't know, but yeah, it was their music was getting flagged, so we took it off, and
This is exciting stuff, guys.
Well,
very exciting.
This is
exciting
this is
stuff.
what we go through as content
Yeah,
creators here.
I get it. It's better than silence, or better than Batman and Robin talking over the intro.
I
So
do like Batman and Robin.
I do like Batman and Robin talking over it. So
Keith Smith has one more show this week on Friday. Then Keith is going to the islands
we are going away. We're
to Saint Martin, right?
We are. We're doing a
Very
early Christmas gift, birthday, and whatever other holidays you want to throw in for 2024.
Christmas, New Year's,
New Year's,
Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah, Hanukkah, Easter, whatever holiday you want to throw in, because we're taking both daughters, husbands, and all three grandkids. This is our kind of big soiree for everybody for 2024, because once January 1 comes around, it's going to be nose to the grindstone to work and get things knocked out.
So
What you got over there, buddy?
This is a little hand sanitizer.
Ah,
It was
cool.
a gift from the Albemarle County Police Foundation.
Oh, look at that.
We're big supporters of Albemarle County Police. They enjoy the network, the police department, and the foundation, and the content we create. Gave us a little gift bag.
It's a little person.
It's a police officer.
Oh, look at that. Cool.
They gave us a gift bag with some hand sanitizer. Do you need some hand sanitizer there, Keith?
I need some. I don't need hand sanitizer. I'm okay.
What was the best part of Thanksgiving? And who did you have in the house? And
So we
also, what
had
was the
it-
most awkward part of Thanksgiving?
Oh. So we.
I gotta open I opened it. Yeah,
I have to
I'm
say,
not
dude,
drinking it.
If you really
opening-
need something, it's a bar right over there, buddy.
I'm opening it, and I used the sharp tooth to open it.
Okay. Alrighty.
You gave me a double take. You're like, what the hell is this guy doing over here?
Yeah, I mean, am I that bad that you got to take a shot of straight alcohol
no.
to work with?
I genuinely missed you, my friend.
I did. I missed you, and we're gonna miss you for about 12 days. But we are. I'm excited that we're going to be able to spend time with the family and do all this stuff. We'll
And he's got some very capable and talented fill-in hosts while he's gone.
We do, but we're going to leave that alone
Till Friday?
To Friday, because we're still fine tuning
Okay.
the things. But we've got folks to fill in for me, and I'm always nervous when that happens. Not because the people that I ask to fill in there.
Oh, I know why you're nervous.
Why am I nervous?
Because you're so competitive, and you hope that they don't
I
outshine.
think Yona calls it narcissistic.
There's a fine line. It's a fine line.
Is there a fine line?
It's a very fine line.
Okay.
And you do a really good job on staying on the right side of that line.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You stay on the right side of the line.
Some people that I know might think otherwise.
No.
But
Well,
yeah.
I certainly don't.
Yeah, well, hello.
I expected that from you over there.
Hold on. Let me Google the definition of narcissist
Oh,
and see if
oh.
your picture's there.
You talking to my wife over there?
No. Oh, look at that. There's a picture of Jerry for the definition.
Are you
of-
talking to my wife?
No, I'm smart enough not to do that, because that only can end in
Oh, she would
confusion.
enjoy conversating with you.
Oh, we'd have a great time because we speak the same language.
Yeah. You guys speak New
then
Yorker.
Then I'm going to get stuck in this awkward position of having to be honest if I've asked a certain question.
Oh, come on now. You guys are brutally honest, and that's why people like you.
Well, that's
Oh,
new-
certainly her family.
Yeah. So yeah, to answer your question, the cool thing was everything was over at Yvonne's house in Richmond, which
Dang.
was great.
Even family from Connecticut?
Family from Connecticut, grandkids from Connecticut, Yvonne's in-laws, my mother and father, Yona and I. So we had a house full. I fry up a turkey, so we fried up a turkey, which
Oh.
was awesome.
Outside?
No, of course.
Okay. Did you
Yes,
put
sir.
anything down on the yard?
We did.
What'd you put, cardboard boxes?
Yeah, we
Okay,
did.
good. You didn't want to hurt the yard.
Yeah, well, I went on a shout out to my son-in-law Harry Tyson.
Harry Tyson, love you, Harry.
I did a couple-hour bike ride on the Cap Trail and said, "Hey, Harry, set up the fryer. I'll be back in a couple hours."
And Harry had no problem.
Yeah, no problem. We got
Good
it
job,
all
Harry.
set up. Got it all set up. But yeah, I love frying a turkey. If you've never had one, you should try one. It's pretty cool. And here's the secret of it, though. Right? There's a secret, and people are probably not going to like this secret.
What's the secret?
The secret is the peanut oil that I have is 10 years old.
Oh.
So I filter after it's done.
Why is that important?
Because it flavor, the oil picks up the flavor over time.
Okay.
And so I literally filter it out every time. You know, you lose a little bit in the boil, you fill it back up, but that oil, you know, is so darn seasoned just right that the turkey just comes out awesome.
Nice.
So
James Watson, TJ Fatally, Holly Ann, Jason Howard, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining us. Katie Pearl,
Hey,
Georgia
Katie.
Gilmer, Sarah Morris, Arthur
Katie,
Taylor.
ask a question. Love to help you out. Any question you've got, Katie, ask.
Huge fans of KTP on the program. Judah, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I feel like you were going to say something there. You were going to comment. No comment from the peanut gallery and the peanut oil?
Oh, I'm just appreciating.
The second-
Sounds amazing.
He flew on Thanksgiving Day
Yeah, he's a crazy
to Los
man.
Angeles.
Crazy. How was the traffic? Was it bad?
No, we didn't fly to Los Angeles. We flew to
You had
Palm
like
Springs.
Oh, Palm Springs.
You had 3 stops. That's this many.
We're considering Palm Springs for Thanksgiving next year.
Okay.
Did you enjoy Palm Springs?
I've enjoyed Palm Springs my entire life.
Is that where your sisters live?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we'll talk about.
I mean,
real
Palm
estate.
Springs area.
What's that?
It's a sprawling
I
area.
literally know nothing about it.
Yeah, I know. There's Palm Springs,
Are you
there's
Adelphi?
Palm Desert,
I-
there's Indio, so they're somewhere around there. But yeah, I don't know that there's any reason in particular to be there for Thanksgiving.
Well, my brother has a house in Palm Springs.
So they
Okay.
do
Well,
they
that's
really
one
have
reason.
springs in Palm Springs? Because it's in the desert, right?
I believe they do have springs.
Really?
That's
Cool.
how people drink water there. No, I'm just kidding.
Judah, there you go. Judah Wickower.
Look at
God,
this, huh?
I know.
Whoa. You go to California, you
Damn,
come
that was
back.
good, Judah. That was
Holy
funny.
schmoly.
Look at Judah.
He's got his microphone in front of
I
him.
know.
He's got the camera.
He got the haircut.
He's got the haircut.
I know. He got tan.
No tan.
Yeah?
I got to
Well,
tell you, no tan.
I
My
thought it-
favorite thing about Judah when he does a joke and it's funny is he knows it's funny is he blushes a little bit when it's funny.
I noticed
Did you
that.
notice that?
I
Yeah.
noticed that.
Yeah, like he's blushing right
Yeah,
now.
so what's up with the blushing?
I don't know.
You didn't realize you're going to get therapy session today.
No, I think
Let's
it's
do
great.
a Judah therapy session.
I think it's. Go ahead, Judah. What were you going to say?
We had a good time. We flew right into Palm Springs. The last day I was there, we drove to Fallbrook, the avocado capital of the
Oh, wow.
world,
Cool.
and then flew back. The flight back was better because there was only one stop.
The reason we're talking Palm Springs is because he and my brother and his wife and family came here. So generally, it's
Yeah.
the return, especially when you have young children. So
Well, we
and-
usually have Thanksgiving here.
I know you do.
And Trisha usually, I think she often makes it out, but Mandy rarely does. So I don't remember the last time.
These are his sisters.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time I had Thanksgiving with Mandy, and so we were all
We've
together
done
at
a
Mandy's
couple
house.
of. I'm sorry, Judah. I apologize. I didn't
No,
hear you
go ahead.
speaking.
You've done a couple of what?
Third-party Thanksgivings, which was fun. In other words, third-party locations where we picked a spot like Hilton Head or whatever, and everybody
Hilton Head's
came
nice.
in. That was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah,
You know, we rented a house on the beach.
sounds
and-
fun.
And had a lot of fun. So we've been we started off the year.
Yeah.
Let's get into real estate.
Well, your
bit.
crystal ball's been very accurate this year. Keith Smith's crystal ball, and it's documented on tape, online.
We actually
with
use tape?
Video and audio, no tape, no tape. It's a figure of speech.
Got
His crystal ball has been crystal clear.
As far as volume of sales go.
Go ahead, offer that
Yeah,
perspective.
yeah. So we're preparing for Friday's show with the Woody Fincham, which I'm excited about.
Friday, Woody
Because
Fincham.
we're going to actually take a deeper dive, and
Woody!
I'm doing all my work for the slides for the show. But I'm looking at November, going back to 2015, and we talked about in January of this year that my vibe was, I think the volume of sales will be similar to 2015. And darn it, we're awfully darn close. This is everything. This is Carr, Buckingham, both sides of the mountain, Stanton, new construction. This is just a huge looking at all the products. This November so far, as of at 0:30 this morning, there were 315 sales, so 14 sales, excuse me. 2015 was 313. So we hit the nail pretty much on the head. And even if you just do the Carr footprint, right, which is Albemarle, Charlottesville, Havana, Nelson, Greene, and Louisa, we're pretty darn close. 2023 November was 211, 214 in 2015. But back to the larger outlook of it, which is Carr, Buckingham, so forth and so on, we're 25% down over 2022. I haven't had a chance to do the math that we're down in the Carr footprint, but while you chat, I can do that.
You see rates are falling a little bit, right?
Well, so rates are falling, and for the agents out, so it's 27% off in the Carr footprint, 2022 versus 2023. So we're 27% down in volume versus last November. Yeah, so you're starting to see. I mean, we've been talking about this till we're blue in the face, and I'm really excited about predicting 2024. And in the beginning of January, we're trying to finalize the good Dr. Lisa Sturtevant to come physically join us.
That's amazing.
We're trying to, she's in high demand, and we're trying to organize her schedule and show schedule and kind of talk about it. But we're starting what I think we've been talking about, the 30%, the 30-year mortgage is starting to stabilize, slide down a little bit on it. And I can tell you, our phone calls for buyers are tempo starting to pick up.
That's good.
So we have a little listing in Mineral that, frankly, I did not expect to get a lot of phone traffic on that we just put on, and we're getting a lot of people because it came on just right at Thanksgiving. Generally this time of the year, the tempo slows down a little bit historically. But so far, we're not seeing that. We're having a lot of interest. Nobody is pulling the trigger or anything like that. But what we're hearing, particularly from the real estate agents that are showing, their buyer tempo is picking up. So I think you're going to start seeing. Yona called this. I think you're going to start seeing the first week or second week of January, once the holiday festivities are
behind us.
I think you're going to start seeing a tempo pickup. I think that's on the buyer side. I'm not so sure on the seller side.
The question is, will the inventory respond to that tempo in any capacity? It doesn't necessarily have to match it. My question, will it uptick at all? Because we got some pretty meager numbers right now.
I'm looking at the last 7 days where only 20 units came on, which makes...
How many went pending?
42.
Yeah.
Which I have to take a look at what we were last year at the same month. I have to do my trusty iPhone. The 20 new isn't scaring me so much because it feels a lot like, from a seller's perspective, the normal holiday. People that don't have to sell are not selling right now, right? They want to wait the holidays to get over, go through that. So unless it's vacant or they have to sell, which is generally the largest percentage of people that are out there right now that have to sell to do that, I think you're going to see an uptick. Here's something just to give a bit of a shout out to ISC,
Interstate Service Company, a home's best friend.
ISC. So
Love that family.
This is the time to reach out to these folks and try to do some whatever little uptick that you have to do in your home, because I think you're going to see the competition increase a little bit. I think the buyer pool is just going to be super high. The inventory pool is going to increase a little bit, nothing to match the buyer pool, so, number of buyers. But, every one of the people we're talking to for this little listing we have, not little, it's a nice listing we have, one of the reasons we're getting the traction we're getting is it's only 2 years old.
Okay.
It has all new everything, right? New roof, new HVAC. It's only 2-year-old stuff on it. So what we're seeing is the buyers, are particularly at this interest rate, don't want to do much
Maintenance,
on
remodeling,
on the
improvement.
condition side,
Of course.
improvement end of it.
Because their budget's stretched.
Money's not cheap. By the way, I looked at 2015 quick this morning. Would you want to take a gander what the 30-year mortgage was in 2015?
2015, I'd say the 30-year. Let me try to do some.
Across the board.
Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can get this.
Good,
pretty
I'll
close.
drink. I'll take a sip.
2013, December. So 2000. You said 2015 around this time.
Yeah, correct. November. Well, the average
Around
for the
floor
year.
it was 7.
No, I looked it up this morning. It was 4, which maybe
Damn.
somebody can double check that. I
You sure about that?
No.
Okay. Well, you looked it up.
Well, that doesn't mean it's right. I'm looking at it right now. According to, hold on a second here. According to Bankrate.com, 2015 was 3.9999%. The Bankrate.com might be lying to us.
No.
That
I think that's a very reputable site for
that. That was the historical average. So it's interesting. We're at the same volume of sales, but the interest rate's about 2 points higher than it was back there. But the price differences are substantial. Where we were at an average in 2015 against this larger area, right? All product types. The average was at 299 and 15, and we're at 471. So it's pretty darn close.
This is a good one from Jonathan. Does Keith expect the rates in the first quarter to drop below 7?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think below 7?
No, I think it all depends on what they do in the December meeting, the Feds, right? I know everybody's talking about inflation and so forth and so on. A lot of this 30-year mortgage rate is emotional, right? It's not tied to anything really specific because it's a market-driven rate, like the 10-year to 30-year T-bill, the 10-year T-bill. I haven't looked at what the 10-year T-bill is yet as of this morning. It'll show up on that TV screen to my left and your right.
Right.
But I think you're going to see it kind of flat. If the Feds drop it, which I really don't see that happening, at best case scenario, they leave the rate alone. I still think they might increase it a little bit.
Earl Smith, welcome to the show. Gary Palmer, hello, welcome
Hey,
to
Earl.
the show.
So
Kate Sharp.
I think the first quarter, everything I'm reading, all these smart folks are projecting the interest rate to start declining towards the tail end of 2024. I kind of agree with that. Historically, though, the average from 1970
We're right around that average.
We're right around that average.
Yeah.
It's 7.1%.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you're seeing the buyers normalization of the buyers a little bit of their expectation. Okay, great. We're not going back to 3% again. I don't even think we're going to go back to 4% in 2015. I think we're going to stay somewhere in the next 12 to 24 months in this 5 to 6, upper 5s, mid 6s is what I'm reading from the super smart people. But this is a great question to ask our dear friend Dr. Lisa Steravant in January, because she's going to have a pulse on it. But my vibe on it is I think we may. I don't know how you feel about it, but I think the Feds and what they do or don't do could impact it, because I think certain things are already priced into the 30-year mortgage, right? If they stay flat, it may drop below 7. It's awfully close to 7 right now. And if you have people don't understand, or I'm sure that they do, your credit score impacts interest rate, the interest rate you pay, way more than everything else.
Oh, 100%.
the higher you go up on the credit score, the lower the lower the risk is. Therefore, the lower the rate is. And I suspect there are some sub 7 rates floating around out there for people with
the best borrowers.
With the best borrowers.
I follow hot neighborhoods closely. Neighborhoods like Redfields. I used to own a home in Redfields. Foxcroft, Lake Renovia. Follow Bel Air closely. Some of the subdivisions in Ivy. Follow Glenmore closely. I'll give you some data. 3 active homes out of roughly 950 in Glenmore. No active listings in Redfields. No active listings in Lake Renovia. No active listings in Foxcroft. Oak Hill in Charlottesville down 5th Street Extended. No active listings. These are some of the popular ones because of their proximity to UVA, downtown Charlottesville, the bypass, the interstate. Hopefully, the inventory upticks following the holidays. I think we'll see a little push. I think there's people on the sidelines wanting to get through the holidays, and we will see a push of inventory. Not saying it's going to be a lot. Not saying it's going to be a lot. But come January into February.
Well, I mean,
it's got to be better than this. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
especially as they hear from you. I mean, you're whether you want to admit this or not, you're the water cooler of real estate here with this show. As you hear that the buyers,
I prefer to be the bar. But
you're the bar of real estate for the show, the coffee shop of real estate,
I like
the
that.
show. The buyers are there. There's buyers looking to buy.
So I
mean, you had Denise on the show. She said that.
Yeah.
You said that.
Yeah, yeah. But the tempo, the willingness to go out and look is upticking. Right.
That's what I'm saying.
So the emotional side of it, I really do. I really think the buyer that said, okay, look, here's the new reality. We're probably going to be somewhere 7 or just below 6. Again, the historical norm is 7.1. I promised myself I wasn't going to do this, but I don't generally hold my own promises. And because what I'm holding in my fingers here, these are all raw datas, and so everybody knows. In order for me to create these slides, Paragron is a great tool, but yet the good thing about it is you have to pick it apart to get to what you want. Some of the other tools I use, there's no flexibility. It's whatever it spits out is what it spits out. And I want to talk to Woody about this on Friday.
Yes.
So between Albemarle County, this is all products. There's new construction, townhomes, condos, single-family detached, and single-family attached. Between 2023 to 2022, we had actually, on the average price, a decrease. And I haven't had a chance to dig into that. So 2023, the average price was $595. This is November only. In 2022, the average price was $601. So we dropped, not substantially, but a little bit. But the median went up from $515 in 23 over $475. So it was a substantial jump in the median, which is kind of the middle, right? It jumps out the high and the low. And I haven't had a chance to dig into why we had a bit of a drop in the average. And my thinking on it, just off the cuff, is I think, and I'm going to do this while you're talking a little bit, I didn't take a hard look on what north of 700 is doing. So I think the upper market is softening.
Yeah.
I may be wrong.
No.
I think it's softening.
I think you're right.
And this is why the median jump is so high, because the middle is increasing. I think the bottom, the lower level of the price point aren't selling because of the commissions.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Interest rates. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I was thinking something else.
We knew what you were talking about.
I was saying something else. On the upper end.
Eggs.
Thank you. On the upper end, I just got myself into trouble, didn't even know it. And the upper, I'm so blonde, I got myself into trouble. The upper end of it, people I think are just holding. But it's interesting. But from 21 on the average, by the way, there was a jump from 488 to 595. So it's a huge jump in those 2 years. But I haven't had a chance to take a deep dive into it, and I'm going to put all together, and we're going to see what the Woody Fincham thinks about it on Friday.
Katie Pearl, KTP.
Hey, Katie.
What do we dub you, KTP? I think we monikered her
Supermom.
Was it the queen of Whitehall, KTP?
Could be.
I think she's. Am I correct that you're the Whitehall district, Katie? She says, I have multiple people wait. She's a fantastic viewer
Yep.
and listener, one of our top 10. She says, I have multiple people waiting until January to list.
Yeah.
And she thinks there will be an uptick in inventory in January. I do as well.
Yeah, so-
the
so
scuttlebutt
look-
I'm hearing, we both have our ears to the street. I'm hearing some of the same.
But I think the buyer pools is going to jump.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Not
way more
proportion-
buyers
Not
than,
proportionately. I think it's going to jump. So I think the ratios are
which
not
is going to drive values,
And as the interest rates drop,
right? And you've been on this. We've been on this.
As the interest rate drops, I'm a little concerned about going back to the insanity of where we. Not that multiple offers isn't good. Multiple offers, if you're representing a seller, is a great thing, right? But I think we're going to start going back to this right now. Home inspections are back in. And I'm going to actually have to speak to Woody today, today's Wednesday, today or tomorrow, because he has data that I don't have to talk about where the seller concessions are floating right now. Are they upticking or are they down? Are they staying flat or are they going backwards? And, I can look at each individual transaction and see where the seller concessions are. But you're starting to see seller concessions kind of creep a little bit back into the market. I think, if the interest rates start dropping a little bit more, you're definitively going to see those away. Also, you're going to see the builder incentives start going away.
You said those builder incentives were going to evaporate
Yeah,
at close of the year.
I think close of the year. I think the beginning of next year, you're going to see them go away.
Because the
particularly-
builders will have moved a lot of the inventory
they will
wanted
move the
to move.
inventory that they ramped up.
And now they're waiting.
Well, they're not waiting; they're just being more strategic about doing it. But yeah, I think you're going to see this. But look, last 7 days we only had 20. I mean, that's just that's insanely low.
How about this one from Brian? What's his magic number? Ray Cadell, welcome to the show. Thank you kindly for joining us. What's keep Joseph Barron? Hello, he's in the game. Catherine
Are
D'Souza.
we talking about my
in the
lottery
game.
numbers? I'm not giving them out.
Your magic number for the rate to hit.
In 2024?
Dr. John Shabe, hello. Pro Renata's finest.
Hey,
Fran.
Doc.
Fran Hayek,
what-
hello. Love you, Franny.
2024?
Yeah.
I think we'll be in the mid sixes by the end of 2024.
Well, I guess his question is the magic number to get people to list.
I think you're starting to see it. So I think you are. I think to play off of KT's
KTP.
KTP's
Yeah.
comment, we're having the same conversations, right? And generally, we're encouraging, if they can do it, is to list now, right? Because there's
Less competition.
Inventory is low. Buyers are still out there. I've found this time of the year that if you've got a buyer out there that wants to buy, they want to buy, right? They're ready to go on the end of it. So, look, I think you're going to start seeing it. I think you've got this adjustment or got this psychological acceptance that we're in this range and we're going to be in this 30-year range for a while. And it's probably not probably. I'll go out on a limb and say it's never going back to 2 or 3%. I'll be dead long buried, before that happens again. But I'm trying to find.
And that's why a lot of people say the 2 or 3% mortgage, if you have one, is an asset now. Is an asset.
Well, I would be interesting on what KTP's conversation is with their sellers on that. I'm finding it based on the people that have to sell. It's a liability. It's not an asset. The problem is because they got so used to this number, and most people.
That's more of a mental hurdle than a liability.
It's not a mental hurdle.
You're saying someone who's.
It's a math problem, right? So most people.
I don't know if
I'm sure you don't, and push back. I'm good with that.
I know, but I don't see how someone who has a 2, 3%, even a 4% mortgage in a time when rates are in the mid sevens can be considered a liability.
if they have to move.
I get
which
that.
is a large, but Jerry, that's the largest percentage of people. I don't have the stat in front of me.
Totally understand.
Right.
But they still have,
But
in their
it's not-
present time, a more affordable payment.
And they have a place to live and a roof
And-
over
right.
their head.
That's what I'm
totally,
saying.
Totally get it. But if I have to move, right,
Yeah.
I can tell you we have multiple listings right now. Unfortunately, divorces have been ramped up. I don't know what that's all about.
Okay.
We're dealing with, we have a couple of folks that are, so they have to sell their house. They're getting divorced and they have to do that. We have people that are getting relocated. They have to sell their house, right? And they're at these, it's not what they bought at, it's what they freaking refinanced at.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So
Right.
they were in the house for 10 years or 5 years or 20 years or whatever it is, and these life changes are happening, right? There are other ones that have been in it a little bit shorter. I mean, this one particular one that we've got, he got relocated, right? And he was only in the home for 2 years. But the reality of it is, most people that are in buy and KTP, tell me if I'm wrong. Got that right. didn't
You
I?
got it right that
I
time.
got that right.
You got it right that time.
I got to remind me.
That one's a little tough one for you there.
Well, all
Can you
of
say
it.
KTP 3 times fast?
No. So I don't want to do that because I don't want it to be angry with me. Okay. Remind me to go back to a new hire we did at the land trust, and I can't pronounce the guy's name right. Which
New hire.
yeah. So
Congratulations.
thank you. Well, it'll make life a lot simpler on me.
Yeah.
So
I know that.
Most people, by and far, buy by their monthly payment. That's kind of how this works, right? So the problem is, if I have a house at a dollar and I'm at a 2%, 3%, but now because we now know that hold on a second here, we now know just year over year prices have gone up 4 or 5%. This is just month over month, not the total year on it. So now I'm paying more for a home at more of an interest rate, so my monthly payment is high.
No,
and
I get it.
They can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. I totally get it. I appreciate that. You've explained that very well. I just think that.
So shut up, Smith, and move on? Is that
No,
what we're
I
saying?
think the alternative of having a 7+% rate in your current home and having to sell
Well, this is why we will. This is
way
why,
worse than having the
Got it.
4%. And
This is
having
the
to sell.
reason why we will not have a foreclosure crisis.
There's
Period.
way too much equity in people's
Way
homes.
too much equity. There would
Yeah.
have to be a drastic down change. What the heck is today?
How about this from Spencer? Does Keefe still think year-over-year values into 2024 are going to uptick?
Yes.
And to what clip? I've said they would flirt
So
with
that's
double.
interesting. If I can jump in for a minute, I'm
Yeah.
literally looking at November 30th, 2022.
Uh-huh.
So that 1 week snapshot that you and I do all the time. So new at that week was only, hold on a second here, let me make sure I'm doing this right. Yeah, so you know what? We're only 15 off. This same 7 days for the same footprint, this is the car footprint, 35 homes came on the market versus 20. Let's see what pending is. Yeah, there's a little bit of a difference. We had 56 go pending a year ago, this same week a year ago. I can speak English today. We're at 42. What is sold? Sold's 46. Sold is 30. So,
So these are pretty substantial drops.
on the sold and the pending, I expected, frankly, the new coming on the market to be higher a year ago. So, we're only 15 off. That's not a big number.
15 of what total, though?
That's for the whole footprint.
No, I get it, but
I don't know. It doesn't.
Okay.
I won't be
Okay.
able to. I won't be able to. I'm just looking at a snapshot of what came on new for that same 7 days last year. So what was the question? I lost.
does he expect the values to uptick 2023 versus 2024, and to what projected clip?
Yeah.
From Spencer.
So the answer is yes, Spencer, and I'm going to hold true to what I've been saying in the beginning of this year, the follow through in 2024. First and foremost, oh God, if I sound like I'm writing an official letter here.
First and foremost.
First and foremost.
7 years ago.
Yeah, oh boy. Anyway,
Enjoy doing the show with you. Go ahead.
the we started this catchphrase in the beginning of 23. Micro markets matter. They will always matter. But the overall footprint of Carr, and I think on both sides of the mountain, to include Buckingham County, we're going to see a 3 to 6% increase year over year. Some areas are going to go negative. I don't have Nelson County in my numbers, so I didn't get to them this morning, but I suspect you're going to see a negative year over year or month over month in that. But generally, you're going to see an uptick across the board.
Keith Smith is a realtor.
Yeah.
He helps folks buy and sell homes.
Somebody asking that question?
No.
Okay.
Keith Smith is a realtor. Jamie
Do
Turner.
I need to get a tattoo or something?
Jamie Turner has this comment. Stony Point
Hey, Jamie, how are you
is
today?
trying to put a significant amount of units on their lots in Gordonsville. Locals are not happy about that.
Stony Point.
He says he thinks it would be a neat project for downtown.
So is he talking about Chris Henry's group?
I believe he is.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. I think they're trying to, if I remember, I haven't stayed in tune to it. Is this a redevelopment project of the old assisted living facility there just before the roundabout? If Jamie can chime in and give me a little information.
Give
on
us
that.
some perspective on that.
If that's what it is, I can see that moving forward. And is his feedback, is the locals, the folks that live there are not happy about that? Is that
Yeah, that's what he's
feedback?
saying.
Yeah. Well, so
That's
kind of a commonplace.
traditional NIMBYism.
It's traditional. It's nationwide. Look, I don't see a huge increase of inventory. It's just not going to happen. We just don't have the political will. The cost of the land is, to quote Neil Williamson, if you don't have a ready, willing, and able seller, right? None of this happens anyway on it. I just don't see a huge increase. You'll see pockets. Maybe this project might get approved. It depends on. My question on that, is that a town council approval? I don't even know if Gordonsville has a town council, to be honest with you. Or is that a Louisa County or Orange? I can't. My jurisdiction's a bit.
He says it's further up the street. He's going to find the details in
Sure.
a link and send
Please.
it to us.
Please, appreciate it. Thank you.
We got folks referencing our upzoning bet on the.
Oh
feed.
yeah, there you go. I feel strong about it.
You have, is it 3 meetings left?
Well, there'll be the
There's
5th.
public comment on the 5th.
There's on the 5th. I believe they have. Matter of fact, I know they have because I sort of popped on my thing. That I believe they're holding an informational session today. Seville plans together, I believe, just to get a little. Hold on a second. I believe that there, if somebody can double check that.
Let's see here. I'm looking
But
at
I believe that there is popped up on my phone today that there is a education service today.
You think you're going to win the bet, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm less confident now.
I'm generally not this confident about our bets.
I know you are.
I think I am. I really, really, really do. And then, we can surely make it a little.
It'll be the talk and the toast of town. What happens? It's certainly been the talk and toast of what folks have been following closely, Keith.
Yeah. So, look, there's no secret on Real Talk with Keith Smith. I'm pro-housing for multiple reasons. I think it's going to get approved. Is it perfect? Definitely not. But I think we're going to go through the process. I think there is a urgency, for whatever reason, amongst certain council members to get this approved before the end of the year. I think they want to start 2024 off fresh. And I will continue also to say that if you expect this to have huge impacts immediately, that is not going to happen. I think what will happen here is it'll be over, and then it'll be a long time, I think, before anything actually happens, because I can't even see how staff can manage what it currently has and not take on additional work. I just don't see that happening unless they're planning on hiring a bunch more people or sending it out to a third party, the review process. I don't know. I just can't see how staff can keep up with what it's got, nevertheless take on new stuff. Plus, people, generally, I've been around the block a little bit.
You have.
And generally how these things go, it's kind of like a rezoning, right? It gets fought a lot at the political end and it gets done, and then the real work starts, right? It takes 1 year or 2 years, depending on the jurisdiction, just to get through the site plan portion of it. And we've been talking about this for a while. This is just the zoning end of it. This is not the site plan end of it, right? There's going to be a site plan process, and we talked about, what would be the low-hanging fruit, right? You mentioned converting basements.
That strikes me as the easiest.
I actually don't think that is.
Okay, I know you corrected me on that.
Well, I didn't correct you. It's just my opinion, right?
You
There's a
think the
difference.
easiest is
the detached little ADU, auxiliary dwelling unit,
the cottage in the backyard?
the granny flat.
That's
the
so
place-
expensive, though.
It is, but I'll tell you, believe me, I'm pretty good with these numbers.
I know you're a general contractor.
The work to upfit an existing structure is always more expensive. And I think when you go through the dollar to dollar,
There's a lot of basements that already are outfitted.
but they're illegal. That's the thing,
Yeah.
right? They're illegal. You have to have a certain head. We went over this a couple of shows ago.
We did.
You got to have the headroom,
Right.
which most of them do not.
Yeah.
Right? You've got to have the second form of egress.
Uh-huh.
This is to get out, and God forbid there's a fire.
Right.
Most of them do not.
Right.
You're going to
He's
have.
talking about an exit or entrance.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, it's an exit. The
Yeah.
entrance they don't care about.
Right.
Right. So that has to be worked into it. And if you just take a look at Belmont, there's very few homes in Belmont that fit this criteria. So you're going to have to substantially amend or renovate an existing structure to meet these there's three basic things. I need a certain head height.
Right. Tell them what it is.
It's 7'2".
Right.
That's clear.
Yeah.
From finished floor to finished ceiling.
And even 7'2" is low.
7
People
foot-
will feel cramped in 7'2".
That's the minimum.
Yeah.
8 or 9 is perfect.
Right.
Because that doesn't count all the duct work that's got to hang down.
Someone
and-
walks in 7'2" and you're like, what's going on here? Right. Not me. You, maybe.
Well,
Not
it depends.
me.
It depends on how you spike your hair.
I know,
If you
that's-
spike your hair,
A lot of people don't
way,
realize
If you spike your hair a certain way, you could get a couple of inches.
5 or 6 years ago it was much taller.
And then
I see some of the photos and I'm like, what was I doing there?
And you can borrow some of your wife's high
What was
heels.
I gonna
Not that
do?
we would judge you for that, but you can borrow some of your
Or
wife's.
what did Costanza do? It was the Timberlands, remember? He was seen on the first date in Timberlands, which added 2 or 3 inches to him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I can't take these off. I can never take these off.
That guy's so neurotic. And the scary thing about that is all those people I grew up around.
Oh, and the scary thing about it is
they're
all
all-
of us have a little of that in us.
There you go.
Which is what made it so funny.
Egress,
Yep. 7'2".
ceiling height,
Yeah.
and there's going to be a requirement of some sort of 2-hour fire separation
Right.
between living unit and living unit.
I was highlighting more the basements that are already basements now.
But
Like
that's-
not basements that are more storage, but the basements that are actual like
No, I got it.
8-foot ceilings, have an exit door.
But that count of, particularly in the city,
Yeah, in the city, there's
is
fewer.
minimal.
They're
It's
fewer.
Minimal.
Yeah.
So look, okay, so let's call it.
I wouldn't say minimal.
Oh, it's not. Believe me, I unless it's a new construction or something, the traditional 1920s, early Belmont.
This sounds like a bet waiting to happen.
Sure, we could do it. How are we going to verify?
That's the
this?
problem. How would we verify how many?
We would do this actually.
No, we
knock
would do
on,
this.
We would knock on everybody's door and go, Can I measure your basement
well,
ceiling?"
you would have more insight into.
Yeah,
how you would
this
verify.
is an unfair bet.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you the
Yeah.
norm back in the 20s, when
It's different.
When
Yeah.
when it was built, they were very low ceilings, right? So if you go back to the 1700s, right, it was even smaller, 1800. You didn't start seeing the 8, 9, 10-foot ceiling, back, until like the 80s, even the 60s, you start seeing some of the shorter. So it's a little unfair.
Yeah. Okay.
I know the building history of stuff. So
what would your number be?
for that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Basements in the city limits. Jamie Turner, we'll get to your comment here. Michael, we'll get to your comment here in a minute.
I don't think it's under 5%. I think.
Wow, that sounds
Yeah.
like a bet right there. That's
Yeah,
a prop bet. Lisa Costello,
you just
hello.
couldn't.
How would we verify?
You
Beth
could-
Mark, hello.
You couldn't verify. Sorry about this, guys. My hearing aid is going wacky on me.
How would we verify is the question.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Seth Liskey, hello.
You would
Seth
have-
Batten, hello.
Yeah, you would. My suggestion, if we really, really, really want to do a bet on this, is we pick a couple of streets.
Well, you'd pick a neighborhood and
There
do
you
it as
go.
a sample.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And then say, okay.
So my goal would be to pick the streets with the
yeah,
newest
yeah. I
houses
don't-
possible.
By the way, I don't trust you well.
All right, so I think I'm going to pick the
No. The answer is-
the C&O row houses.
The answer is no.
The C&O row
The
houses.
answer is no. The answer is no.
I think I'm going to pick. What is
But look-
what's the newest subdivision
Look,
in
even
city limits?
Look, no, because it's new. You got to pick
What is
Belmont.
the newest subdivision? No,
Okay,
I
let's.
wouldn't pick
Yeah,
that.
we're moving on.
I'd pick Burnett Commons.
Okay, good. Good for you. I'm happy for you. Very happy for you. Jim.
I'm going to get to your
Spike
question.
your hair a little bit more.
You too
Where
over
the where the
You two over there.
Where the wife's high heels and everything will be okay.
Tom Powell, hello.
So look, here's the deal. Even if you catch one that's got the 8 foot, that got the 7'2",
Yeah.
you can put all the ductwork in, right, and all this kind of great.
That'll be expensive.
What I
yeah.
was about to say, Mr. Miller, was then you got to deal with the two others. Still, you got to do a 2-hour fire separation,
Yeah.
right, and then you got to figure out the egress.
The egress, yeah.
And traditionally, the best way to convert a basement apartment, and we can easily actually look at this way if you want, is a walkout basement, right? Right. So the back wall is an 8 foot tall thing. It's got windows. Sometimes it's framed. That will make adding an apartment in the basement very doable and inexpensive.
My point is this. The ones that have
Yeah. But it's not a huge number, Jerry.
right, but that would be the easiest.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're
Yeah.
splitting hairs, you're
Yeah.
right.
The second easiest I give you is the ADU. The second easiest is the ADU. Keith's fired up right there. This is from
I'm
Jamie.
just visualizing another 2 inches on top of that. That's all.
This is from Jamie. On behalf of Stony Point, you go a lot of ways with that.
Is he being funny?
No, you cracked me up with that comment right there.
It took a little while to get
Oh,
in.
that was funny. I know. I'm such a.
I'm visualizing.
When
And
it
the
all-
heel- I buy the high heels too, by the way.
When it's all said and done, I'm very much a kid.
Oh,
at
yeah, for
heart.
sure.
Very much.
And,
a kid.
and it's funny, we do what we do, and sometimes people misunderstand us. And
yeah,
don't really.
we're two kids.
Yeah.
We're two kids. This is from
I
JT.
would say we're two immature kids, but that's I'll speak for myself.
No, you can include me in that. On behalf of Stony Point Development Group, this is Stony Point's commentary. We invite you to share comments and ask questions regarding their proposed residential housing project on properties located at the southwest quadrant
Got it.
of the intersection of North Main Street and West King Street. The properties have physical addresses of 201, 203, 205, 207, and 209 North Main Street and 201 West King Street. Stony Point Development Group seeks to develop a 36-unit multifamily project on the property. The project proposal consists of the preservation of 201, 203, and 209 North Main Street, all of which will undergo interior renovations to repurpose these structures for multifamily residential use, and the addition of 3 new multifamily residential structures. To realize this proposal, SPDG will need to obtain a rezoning of 201 West King Street and conditional use permits to allow multifamily on the entire property.
So I am not intimately. I mean, I know enough about Gordonsville.
I'm a big fan of Chris Henry.
Where to eat? So am I. Where to eat? Where to do all this stuff? Am I correct? Is that the old? I'm trying to look real quickly on Google Maps here to find out where those streets are located. West King, here it is. I'm finding it right now. What was those addresses again?
Let's see here. I got those.
Oh,
here.
I got it. It's across from the Ice House, isn't it?
It is 201, 203, 205, 206. Yeah, across from the Ice House.
Yeah, there you go.
He just literally said across from the Ice House
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
asked that question.
Yeah.
JT's on point.
Yeah. Yeah, and it sounds like they're repurposing existing structures. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So they're repurposing existing structures and turning them into multifamily units. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. They're really good at what they do, and I'm sure they will come fully prepared. And the fact that they're reaching out to the community, one is required, by the way, in a rezoning application. And Jamie, is this a town rezoning, or is it a county rezoning? I don't quite. I think Gordonsville is its own incorporated town, but I may be wrong on that. That would be an education thing for me.
That's would be an education thing for me as well, and we have dubbed him the mayor of Gordonsville. He grew up in the area and knows the place rather well. Keith Smith, what are you researching over there?
Is Gordonsville an incorporated town?
There you go. Google's a man's best friend over there.
Yeah, it's anybody's best friend. Well, we'll wait for the mayor to go ahead and let us know, because Smith can't talk and type at the same
Neil
time.
Williamson, thank you kindly for joining us on the
As
program.
officially incorporated town in 1870.
He says it's a town rezoning because of the historical component.
Yeah.
And Orange County ultimately has to approve as
Yeah.
well, he believes.
Yeah, I'm reading it. I'm reading it right now. So it's the historical portion of it gets approved by the town, but it is in Orange County. So
That place is booming.
yeah. So I am unabashedly
Pro-housing. We know.
So
We know.
any opportunity for more done well.
How about the multifamily?
Yeah, I think our market is good. I will tell you,
Softening and nationwide.
it is softening nationwide,
Yeah.
big time, and
Because there wasn't some would
glut.
say, an abundance of built.
yeah. So, but just to put it in perspective, though, most of these projects, like
Yeah.
this one, is years in the making, right? This is not. It's going to take a long time to go through the rezoning process. Assuming it gets rezoned, then it's going to go through the site plan process. And that's the point I was trying to make about the town, and we went off on this whole basement bet kind of thing. I've done enough research on the lots in the city of Charlottesville, because as you may know, I was part of a team that was working on ADUs, usually dwelling units, for this very purpose. So there are a substantial amount of lots that have alley access, that have the ability to go ahead and put an auxiliary dwelling unit on the back, actually quite easier. And from a development and building perspective, at the end of the day, you sure as hell don't want to live in a construction site. It's a lot easier to go ahead and build out there, therefore a little bit more expensive. But there's this zoning rewrite is going to take forever. Let's find, you and I all get together and we find this home, and we're going to do this in Belmont, and it's the perfect lot. It's a corner lot. It all works. Then we got to go through the site plan process.
Right.
And then, by the way, I've got to now run a second water line to it, a second sewer line to it. I've got to tap into this. There's all kinds of bonds. It's a very arduous process, and most individuals won't go through it. It's why this program was on for a few years. They've kind of came to the conclusion that I came to in the very beginning, that the homeowners by and far will not do these auxiliary dwelling units themselves, because the rest of the story, the site plan and building side of it, is just a pain in the butt, and it's expensive to go ahead and do it. This is why we formulated this land trust kind of partnership together that's actually been pretty successful out there.
I concur with you. I also think that the climate has too many headwinds for people to dig into their pockets to do it.
Well, for at the end of the day,
labor, interest rates.
well, I'm about to say, at the end of
Credit
the
card
day,
debt.
unless there's some state or federal or city
offering
funded,
some kind of tax rebate, tax incentive.
well, that's what happened out west.
Right.
That's how that worked.
I mean, who's going to go $250,000
It's
to build
very
something
expensive. It's very expensive.
to get $1,000
It's
in
very-
rent? I
it's-
mean,
it's very
it'll
expensive.
take you decades to get your money
It's
back.
it's very expensive, unless you use it for Airbnbs, and the recovery times are much easier on that.
And in that scenario, this is a question I would have for you. The Charlottesville guidelines say you have to live in the residence 180 days a year. Does that count for an ADU in your backyard? Does living in the front of the house,
So it depends on what they're going to define as the primary residence.
you see what I'm saying?
Is it the ADU or is it the thing?
Well,
and
obviously-
then that's kind of a slippery slope, because then now you got to. I mean, how
Would someone then have to go live in the ADU
no,
for half
how-
the day?
how
Half
would-
the year?
Yeah, well, how would they?
Enforce.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's generally next door neighbor drops a dime.
That's usually what
a
happens.
quarter or a dollar, whatever
Yeah.
the hell a phone call costs nowadays.
Right.
Yeah. So look,
But you see what I'm saying, right?
yeah, I personally am not in favor of the ownership criteria in order to put an auxiliary dwelling unit in. It limits
Who can do it.
Who can do it?
Yeah.
Right. And I can tell you, based on experience out west, what happened is folks that got into this construction thing that don't do this for a living
Got in trouble.
got very much so in trouble.
Yeah, because they got in over their heads.
They got in over the head. They
Yeah.
borrowed money. It cost more than they thought it was going to cost.
Right.
They didn't get the rent that was to offset it.
I mean, and if anyone wants to know
And
about
that
this,
most
just
of them
try
ref-
doing a basic remodel in your own house.
Most of them refied their existing homes. This is why most jurisdictions that are most successful with this remove the ownership criteria to it, because it allows things like the land trust to step in.
Right.
Right. It allows the nonprofits to come in and do it. And the way they typically have done it out west, they offered huge tax incentives to go ahead and do it. They waived connection fees, so forth and so on. So forth and so on.
You don't see
I'm
much.
back on another 2 inches, man. I just can't stop visualizing that.
You don't see any impact.
No. Any
You see very little
Any
impact.
is a big word.
You see very little impact.
I see this just like I've been saying. This is a bit of a bell curve. It's going to start off pretty slow. It's going to work through the process. It's going to start working its way up to the top of the bell. Probably stay flat for a while and maybe drop down a little bit and re-level out.
Tim Carson, hello.
Hey Tim.
Eliza Thomason, hello. Thank you kindly for watching the program. We're talking about the impact of zoning changes in the community,
Zoning rewrite.
as you guys may be following. We see a handful of realtors watching you right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do that. And look, for the real estate agents that watch it, you may agree or disagree with it. I'm just going to say out there, thank God Carr finally took a position on something. So if
Happened within the last few months.
if you are in favor or not in favor of it, I'm glad to see the local trade organization and that's in the housing space taking a position.
Happened within the last few months.
It's just not going to have a huge impact. It's going to start off really slow. I'm telling you, because I'm actively looking at properties for investors. I'm actively looking at properties for people that call me and say, "So you understand this stuff?" I actually think I do.
You absolutely do. You're one of the best at this.
I don't know about that. Neil definitely is way better than me on this. Hey, take a look at my property. If this gets approved, like this 400 pages, what can I do with my property? Dozens and dozens of conversations like that have happened. Gone, walked through their houses, and I can tell you, maybe just a few, less than 5, actually checked enough boxes that it made sense. So it's not going to be this huge. Now, these are the single-family detached units. This is not the multifamily units. That's a whole different path, and that's a whole different animal. But I'm talking about the largest percentage of the zoning rewrite is going to be impacting the single-family detached lots, right? You know, that area is mostly of the county. It's going to be the city. And I'm telling you, the couple dozen I've looked at so far, man, it's just a few.
Where are you looking at those?
Everything from Belmont to Fifeville to North Downtown. It's just all over. Again, the city's not a huge place.
And you looked at those down Avon or Fifth Street Extended?
Fifth Street Extended, look at that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Fifth Street.
Those have been on there for a while.
Yeah, it's just not going to work. The math doesn't work. And that's going to be the big issue. So they're going to have this great program set up. I just don't think you're going to see this huge info. I want to have it happen. I just don't see it happen.
Neil's got this.
Hey,
10
Neil.
things to know about the zoning court. Neil Williamson is the president of the Free Enterprise Forum.
Thank you for attending the thing on the 4th when I'm out of town.
Support the Free Enterprise Forum. Neil, do you think Keith is going to win the bet?
We talked about this the other day. I think he's on the same page.
Neil thinks you're going to win the bet? Mm-hmm. Okay. This will be the first bet I lose to you.
Yeah,
Our
like
other
a
bet
kid.
is who the mayor is going to be.
I'm like a kid in the candy shop.
I know. You're going to brag. I know
am.
you're gonna, you should
Totally,
brag. You should totally brag.
Totally.
And the other bet we have is who's going to be mayor. You got Austrin.
Yeah, that's a
He's got Michael Payne. I got Juan Diego Wade.
Yeah, so mine's a default.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
It's for the sake of a talk show. I
Okay,
picked
for the
it.
sake of a talk.
I think
And you don't really lose. It just means you get to pick what booze goes on the bar.
that's all I get to sip. That's
Yeah,
all.
right. Neil says 10 things to know about the zoning code. 10 things to know about zoning code 1. The ordinance advertised for public hearing will not be the ordinance enacted. This will not be Charlottesville's last zoning code. The CEVO Plans Together ordinance will increase Charlottesville's housing capacity. Mandated affordable housing provisions will decrease housing and increase housing costs. Wow, let's read that one again.
So go number one.
Okay. I see what happened there. 10 things to know about the zoning code. Number 1, the ordinance advertised for public hearing will not be the ordinance enacted. We know that. Number 2, this will not be Charlottesville's last zoning code. Number 3, the CEVO Plans Together ordinance will increase Charlottesville's housing capacity. Number 4, this is an interesting one. Mandated affordable housing provisions will decrease housing and increase housing costs. That's a good one right there. People should unpack that one. Number 5.
I'm writing them down.
Yeah, number 5. The CEVO Plans Together zoning ordinance needs to include tall buildings in commercial corridors. Number 6. The CEVO Plans Together ordinance will help but will not solve the city's housing crisis. Number 7. The impact of the CEVO Plans Together zoning ordinance will be an evolution and not a revolution. That was one of my favorites. That's a wordsmith right there. Number 8. The CEVO Plans Together zoning ordinance represents a generational change in zoning. Number 9. Form-based design concepts are baked into the CEVO Plans Together zoning ordinance. And 10, eliminating parking minimums will not eliminate parking. It's a good list right there from Neil. I'm going to respond to that and say,
So it's a great list, and Neil, what I'm about to say has nothing. I have the highest respect for you, but I'm going through the 10. A lot of them are the same, right? You know, they're kind of interconnected. The first 2 is what we've been talking about. That this is not. This is a living document. It's going to be changed. That it will go through it. I think the biggest one that and number 7, which is an evolution, not a revolution, kind of speaks to 1 and 2.
Yeah.
On that, the big thing, generational change, kind of speaks to 1, 2, and number 7.
Beth Mark says you're going to win the bet.
But the form-based code, that's an important one to unpack. So basically, and I think I'm gonna shut up and answer something else. I'm gonna let Neil, if he's still watching, chime in and write what his definition of form-based code is, because it may be a little bit differently than mine. I want him to go in and answer that. But the short version of it is that the jurisdiction tells you what you're going to build, right? But it's going to help, but it's not going to solve it. I've been talking about that for a while, right? And this is an evolution, not a revolution. He's 100% right. This is going to take time to go through. So the short version of all of this, if you expect on January
Boatloads of more housing, it's not going to happen.
It's just not going to happen.
I would also like to see in the rankings how this DZO upzoning zoning changes, how they're going to drive values and or demand to the surrounding county and or the Albemarle County urban ring. Because I think it's going to drive interest out.
Well, and
I've also said those HOA neighborhoods.
Yeah, I'm super interested. I'm unfortunately not going to be able to attend the public work session between the Planning Commission, the Board of Supervisors, and 10 stakeholders, which is a part of the Regional Housing Partnership I was helping putting together on it. Neil's going to actually be at the table on that end of it. But we sent out a query with some questions to answer, and one of them in there was expanding the growth area, right? And I'm really curious what the results of this poll is going to be, particularly of the stakeholders in it. I know the Albemarle County Board is very clear that they're not going to expand it in any time soon. But I think that you're right. I think the pressures are going to put out to the surrounding counties. I'm stuttering here a little bit, but which is
You're not stuttering.
yes, I am. I'm sorry. I get this whole mental picture of an extra 2 inches of hair. Sorry.
There you go.
I can't. Look who knew, right? It's just not going to happen. It's going to change.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. It's going to change. People don't realize how much work it's going to take to actually make it happen. And I think the last one is 5 that I wanted to talk about is tall in the commercial areas. I think they cut down some of the height in the commercial areas, if I remember it correctly, which I think, frankly, is a mistake. But
Neil says this, form-based code is a land development regulation that fosters predictable built results and
Yeah.
high-quality public realm, and a high-quality public realm by using physical form rather than separation of uses as the organizing principle for the code. A form-based code is a regulation, not a mere guideline, adopted into city, town, or county law. A form-based code offers a powerful alternative to conventional zoning regulation.
yep. In essence, they tell you what you're going to build.
They tell you what to do.
They're going to tell
Yeah.
you what they're going
Right.
to say in this area.
This is what you can do.
This is what it's going to look like.
Right.
This is what we want you to look at. What it to look like. Which again is not a bad thing. I think. Well, maybe I'm going to restructure this comment. In essence, that's what comprehensive plans have always been historically. What they're doing now is turning these forms or these visions into more of a reality. But, I think we've kind of beat this horse to death.
We have, and we're almost done with it.
We're almost done with the end. We're almost done with our time today.
Almost done with the show. We're almost done with the DZO. I'll be happy when it's not
So what do you
such a dominant topic.
So what do you think is going to happen on, let's assume it gets done December, January 1. What do you think is actually going to happen?
No,
on
I
January
think
1?
you're on point, dude. I mean, I 90%, 90 to 95% of what you say on this show, I agree with.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think the average family is not going to be able to afford to do something with their house.
Yeah, so it's just not going to have
It's not
this
going to
huge
have a
impact.
huge impact. We've
So-
been spending years on something that's going to create very little additional housing.
It is, what is number 8? It's a generational change.
Yeah.
This is.
It might be my kids' kids that see this.
Yeah, this is a generational change. I don't think I'm going to see it for sure.
I don't even think I'm going to see
Yeah.
it.
So,
And frankly speaking, the folks with how values are so expensive in Charlottesville, the folks that are going to be able to afford the housing in Charlottesville are going to be wealthy, and they're going to want to keep the homes single-family detached.
that may be the case. I'm speaking purely from a technical perspective.
Yeah.
It's just a huge lift. So Maple Leaf neighborhood in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
When I was out in Seattle, I was part of this whole thing I was doing with the land trust. So Yvonne and Houston moved from Maple Leaf. So I actually did just a physical walkthrough over 6 or 7 square blocks of where they live, which is exactly like Belmont, just a little bit bigger. This
Right.
neighborhood is exactly like Belmont. I can tell you in that 6 or 7 blocks, this whole idea of tearing a house down and building multiple units on a lot, because they're allowed to do that there was maybe 2 or 3.
That's what I'm saying.
But what there was a lot of was the garage conversions.
Of course. Basements.
That's just basements.
Yeah.
And detached ADUs. And that was like every other house, every third house. This is not a formal survey, right? It was me walking up and down the street with the dog and going, well, look at that, look at that, look at that. So that's what will happen here, right? That's what will happen here. You'll see the low-hanging fruit, your basements. I just don't think we're going to see a lot of them. Your detached units, your garage conversions, you'll see that.
The money that is required.
That'll actually be the cheapest.
The money
path
that
forward.
is required to do these projects,
Yeah.
it's almost a contradiction or like a catch-22. It's going to require a lot of money to do these projects. And the folks that have a lot of money to do these projects generally don't want to do these projects.
Or, no, that's not true. I have some people that have that they want to do, they want to
If you're realistic.
They want to give back to the community and all this kind of great stuff. But you can take if you happen to have a 22 by 22 garage on your Belmont, detached garage in the back of the thing, that is the easiest path. That is the most cost-effective path.
That's what I said.
To go ahead,
Yeah.
garage, a detached garage,
Oh.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So the structure's there, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got to get water and sewer to
I mean, someone
it.
building an ADU in their yard. I talked about this with,
1131.
a builder. You're talking $300,000
Yeah. It's super
to
expensive.
build a tiny home in
Super
your
expensive.
backyard.
Super expensive. So the only-
$300,000 on a 7.5% interest rate, and it's
So the only way
find
that
a lender that's going to give you this money.
only way this is going to work is either the nonprofits, which I'm a fan, I promote the land trust because I have to, and I happen to believe in it, is a great model to go ahead and do this. But the city is going to have to give substantial discounts in their taxes for this to work, right? It's just going to have to do it. Otherwise, I'm living in Belmont. I'm going to build an ADU in the backyard because, that's a great place for my mother and father to come
Right.
in, that kind of thing. And if they're not using it, look up on Airbnb on how much an Airbnb costs in Belmont.
Right.
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 So that's what I'll do. I'll just Airbnb it out, make a little bit of money off of it. I've got it there because I can afford to do it for an inevitable thing, multi-generational living in it, or my wife kicks me out, which is probably more the
No.
case.
Jonah's the best.
But you're at 11:32, and
I know,
you got,
and I got an 11:45 call.
I hate taking advantage of that time.
No
time slot
problem.
on.
Judah Whitcower is our director. Keith Smith is our star.
Also, I might have to use the.
I think you didn't hit the head beforehand. Real
didn't.
Talk with Keith Smith, archived online at realtalkwithkeithsmith.com. Real Talk with Keith Smith.
We grew by one house, by the way, since we came in here.
One?
So we must have had some sort of impact on
That's your
conversation. One more
influence
house
there.
came on the market.
The I Love Seville show is up in 58 minutes, and we have winemaker, wine enthusiast, and wine ambassador Stephen Bernard on the program to talk about the Monticello Wine Trail earning the distinction of the top wine
isn't that
region
pretty cool?
in the world.
So
So the top ambassador, I won't say top, one of the top ambassadors of the region will join us live in studio at 12:30 p.m.
and why is everybody moving here?
I know. The population's going
Duh.
to grow, right? One of the many reasons.
I've never professed to be smart, but duh.
Well, wait, it's going to be significant. Keith, Judah, Jerry, I Love Seville show in 57 minutes. So long, everybody.
Have a good noon show.
Very, very well done.
All right.